What's up guys, welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. You guys have asked me plenty of times for this list, so today we're counting down the top 5 Nightwings in Heroclix. He's my favorite sidekick turned superhero, so without any further ado, let's get to the list. Alright, and coming in at number 5 for Nightwing is actually one that I would love to put higher up on the list. This is the world's finest Nightwing. Rare, 75 points. He's got Batman ally and police team abilities. He has the Batman family, martial artists, outsiders, police, and Teen Titans keywords. And he really only has this one trait that says Nightwing can use sidestep. And when he has no action tokens, he can use sidestep twice this turn and may be given a free action to make a close combat attack. So long as he doesn't ever get an action token, he can just keep making an attack every single turn forever. Now he only has a 10 attack, 3 damage. 4 range doesn't really matter because it's only a free action to make a close attack. Leap climbs, whatever, combat reflexes. Now this was before, no more pushing damage was a thing. So with the addition of pushing damage, it is not really that bad to actually give him, some actions to make an attack once in a while. Because then he can just get a second action token, make an attack, and then whatever, and then just clear. But before he couldn't push, you never wanted to give this guy an action token. Because you could just, why give him an action token when you can just make free attacks all the time? You can carry him around. If you get somebody who has a really big speed to carry, then you can carry him around, place him somewhere, and you can punch somebody for free with a 10 attack, 3 damage. Not bad at all. Then the rest of his dial, he gets some flurry there, some willpower, nothing special, a little outwit at the end, pretty cool. Pretty standard, just close combat fighter as Nightwing is. But I just love the ability to make 2 sidesteps and make a free close attack because, like I said, you can carry him really far. He can actually sidestep twice to move up 4 squares after that and then make a free close attack. It's pretty great. 75 points for that nowadays is a little expensive, but for a long time he was really, really good and I used him a lot. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 for me is the Nightwing from the Batman animated series. Gotta love the animated series sculpts. They did such a great job of really making him look like they came right out of the cartoon. He's got the Batman family, Gotham City, and martial artist keywords. And he's got a special movement power that gives him leap climb and sidestep. And then free, if Nightwing has 2 action tokens, make an attack. So very similar to the number 5 pick, pretty much just the opposite, right? So that guy could make an attack for free if he didn't have any action tokens. This guy can make a free attack every time he has 2 action tokens, and that's why I believe he's just a little bit better. But only specifically now. I actually kind of hated him when he came out because he has no indomitable, no willpower. So back when he came out, you had to push him before you could get to that free attack, and you'd quickly kill himself just trying to do some free attacks. So nowadays, pushing is no longer a thing. Makes him much, much better, if you ask me. 6 range also, because it just says free, make an attack. It doesn't say specifically make a close attack, just make an attack. So you can actually use his 6 range effectively. And having leap climb and sidestep, is pretty cool. It actually combos together now, so you can sidestep over elevation or whatever. So yeah, you can pretty much do some cool stuff with this guy too. You can actually move him, like turn 1, just move him up a square or something, give him a token. Then turn 2, you could do the same thing, move him back a square, have somebody carry him up super, super far, and then he can free shoot for 6 because he has 2 action tokens. And that's kind of the main reason I like him more, because he can actually attack every single turn, and on the turns that he has 2 action tokens, once you put that second action token on him, he can make another free attack. So sometimes he makes 2 attacks in a turn, and then before he clears tokens, he can make a free attack while he still has 2. So he's making an attack every turn, and occasionally twice a turn. With Precision Strike also, which is a great addition there. And then, he gets some flurry, incap, super senses, and outwit at the end. And of course, Batman team ability for that stealth. Plus, he's only 50 points, so he's a lot cheaper than the last one. So for only 50 points, the fact that he can attack every single turn is really cool. And I like him a lot. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 4. All right, and coming in at number 3, we're going back to the world's finest set. This time, the Fast Forces Nightwing. He comes in at 50 or 25 points. And you can see there he has the Outsiders team ability. Now, if you don't already know what that does, it's amazing. I'll explain that here in just 1 second. But he has the Batman family, martial artist, and Outsiders keywords. Not bad. He's got a trait that makes him a wild card, which is good. That means he can just copy other team abilities. So you can copy, Batman ally for stealth. You can copy Teen Titans so you can heal. I wish he had Teen Titans keyword. I do. But, he can copy some cool stuff. Now, he does have a special movement power that gives him leap, climb, sidestep, and stealth. So you don't really need to copy Batman because he does already have stealth. But, there's other good team abilities you can copy. The main thing I like about him is just straight up, he's 50 or 25 points, and he has Outsiders team ability. And if you don't know what the Outsiders team ability does, basically, it's kind of like Outwit or Perplex, where it's a free action to target a character within 6 squares in line of fire, and that character cannot have its combat values modified till your next turn. So this is amazing for 2 reasons. First of all, if you use your Outsiders team ability on an opposing character, that means it doesn't matter how many times they've been perplexed, if they have energy shield, if they have combat reflexes, any of that kind of stuff, if close combat expert, range combat expert, anything that's going to modify their combat values is just not going to work. It's crazy how good this is, really. Like, you have no idea. Even if they're just sitting and hindering, they can't get the +1 bonus to their defense for that. Now, this also works well on your own friendly characters if for some reason they've been affected by something that's giving them negative stats. They've had their stuff perplexed down, or whatever might happen. Back in the day, this used to be really good to team up with a character that had the transporter ability, because that gave them essentially traded hypersonic speed, but with a -2 to their attack. So if you actually outsidered your character that had the transporter thing, they could just hypersonic regular. They wouldn't get the -2 to attack because their combat values could not be modified at all from anything. So it's a really, really, really good team ability to have, and just the fact that you can play him at only 50 or 25 points even to get access to such a good team ability was just crazy. And taking a look at his dial, you can see 9 movement with the leap, climb, sidestep, and stealth. Combat reflexes is always good to combo with stealth for a 19 defense from close attacks, 5 range, 10 attack, 3 damage. Not bad for 50 points. And then on the 25 line, he still had 10 attack, 2 damage, some willpower to keep himself going if he needed to move around more other than just sidestepping around. And I still love the 25-point dial. Just throwing him on there just to, Outsiders some things is pretty crazy. So basically, he's just a really cheap way to get Outsiders, which is a really, really strong team ability to have on any team. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 3. And coming in at number 2, we have the newer Nightwing from the Rebirth set. I love this sculpt. Pretty cool pose. Getting ready to fight somebody. Pretty awesome. Then taking a look at his card, he's got Batman Family, Teen Titans, and Martial Artists. I do love that he has Teen Titans. Now, this is one Nightwing I would mainly play on Teen Titans because he's got this cool Titans Reborn trait where when he's given a move action after resolutions, he can use the Titans team ability at no cost, or as free now as they've changed that. With improved movement for elevated is great as well, so you can just kind of run around, and if he needs to heal somebody, he can. But mainly, the reason I like him is for this awesome damage power that gives him leadership, and free, choose one, close combat expert, range combat expert, perplex, or outwit. He can use a chosen power until your next turn. So having leadership is good enough, but then having pick a power from 4 of the best damage powers in the game is just great on top of it. And then the fact that he no longer has to take pushing damage is also really good, actually. For 75 points, he starts out with a pretty good 9 movement running shot for 4 range, 11 attack with incap, 17 energy shield, and 3 damage. Now, energy shield's not really that big of a deal since he has stealth with the Batman team ability anyway. And like I said, Teen Titans, so he can heal people or he can be healed by the Teen Titans team ability. But what's really cool is now that Range Combat Expert can actually combo with the running shot, you can actually shoot with a 12 attack for 4 damage, which is honestly just way too strong for a Nightwing, but I love it nonetheless. Or an 11 attack, 3 damage, at least on his 50-point line, is still pretty solid. And then of course, since he's sitting in stealth, probably if somebody does come up to him, having that close combat expert option is also great. And on turns when you don't really need him to attack, being able to choose Pertain, Perplex, or Outwit, and just already having leadership and stuff, it makes him a pretty solid support figure as well. I've used him a few times now, and he's done great for me. I like him a lot at both point lines, so for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 2. Now, as always, before we get to our number 1 pick, we have got a few honorable mentions here. We'll start off strong with the Nightwing from the 10th anniversary set. Now, honestly, I love the sculpt on this one. Probably my favorite Nightwing sculpt of all time. I mean, look at him. He's kicking up the snow as he's running on top of this building. That's so cool. I love that attention to detail. Anyway, he looks amazing, but taking a look at his card here, he's got Bloodhaven, Detective, Gotham City, Martial Artist, and Police keywords. He's got some improved movement for characters, which is great to see, especially since he's a close combat fighter. Having that ability to run between characters at will is always nice to have. His trait says that Nightwing is a wild card, and when you reveal your force, choose a friendly character's keyword. Nightwing possesses that keyword for the rest of the game, and Nightwing can use leadership, but only removes action tokens from characters that can use a team ability that he can use. So, I mean, that was before the whole keyword thing with leadership. Back then, you could only remove tokens from characters that you were higher points than. But this guy's in desperate need of a legacy card because they really need to change this trait to be what it should have been all along, which was that during force construction, you can choose a keyword. And, you know, just having leadership and being a wild card is pretty much good enough on top of being able to get a keyword during force construction, because getting it as you reveal forces doesn't let you be a theme team because it's too late for that. Also, he's 94 points, so they really need to drop him down to like 50 because he's not an amazing close attacker. But he's a really fun character, and I do wish that they would release some type of a legacy card for him. Batman team ability is cool to have to start with, but you can always copy some other team abilities. But yeah, he's got Charge, Quake, Combat Reflexes with the stealth and everything. So he's pretty good. I mean, he only has like 5 or 6 clicks of health, though. It gets some Perplex. His stats are not amazing. That's why I was saying, you know, get some Outwit there at the end. But yeah, being like 50 points and changing his trait to be during force construction would be a great legacy card for him. But moving on next, we have somebody else that would make a great legacy card. And the reason I think this guy would make for a great legacy card is because this guy's sculpt is actually gigantic. Here's a side-by-side comparison. This guy's much older than this guy, and he is still like twice the size of him almost. He would look great next to the figures of today, though. But yeah, he's got this cool special movement power that gives him the Outsiders and Titans team abilities, as well as their team symbols. And then he's got Flurry as a special attack power, and Combat Reflexes and Energy Shield Deflection and Leap Climb as his special movement power. For 79 points, he honestly wasn't too bad. Even nowadays, he can kind of hold his own at top dial because with both Energy Shield and Combat Reflexes, he's going to be rocking a 19 defense. 10 attack, 2 damage is not amazing. Then he's got the triple team abilities there. Anyway, won't look at his whole dial, but he's great, and it would make for another good legacy card. And then we have this Nightwing from the Batman set. This one, you know, for 72 points is actually kind of even better now than he ever was. He's got Charge, Flurry, and Leap Climb, and the fact that Leap Climb can actually work with Charge now is great. Then he's got Incap and Quake on his special attack power. Batman team ability, of course. Taking a quick look at his dial. Starts with the Charge Flurry, then gets that Quake Incapacitate. And the fact that you could like Flurry, Quake, and Incapacitate, you could give out tons of tokens if you wanted to. Close Combat Expert combos with the Flurry now is pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, for 72 points, he's got a pretty long dial, and his powers combo much better than they ever did before. So I think he's pretty great and worthy of an honorable mention. And then last but not least, we have the Disco Suit Nightwing here from the Teen Titans set. So improved movement for elevated and characters is great. For hindering back in the day was awesome too. Batman Family, Teen Titans keywords. Call if you ever need help, Bruce. If another friendly character on your force has a Batman Ally team ability, Nightwing possesses the Batman Ally team ability as well. So having that is always good. Done on his damage, he can use Leadership and Outwit, and then if an opposing character within 4 squares is given an action to use Perplex, then Nightwing and adjacent friendly characters modify defense +1 until your next turn. So if he's close enough to somebody that uses Perplex on your opponent's turn, then him and everyone adjacent to him gets a +1 defense to kind of counteract that, because usually you're going to Perplex your attack or something. So that was pretty nice to have. Plus, just Leadership and Outwit is a great enough damage power on its own. So there's his dial at 110 points. Nothing crazy. And then there's his dial at 80 points. Now, if you're playing him on a Batman team, I definitely use the 80-point line for the Combat Reflexes to go with the Batman team ability there. But yeah, I mean, his stats aren't great, especially not for 110 points, but back in the day, he was a lot of fun, and he goes on the team base too, which is pretty cool. So that's it for all the honorable mentions. Now on to our number 1 Nightwing. All right, and backflipping his way into the number 1 spot, we have, boom, the WizKids OP Kit Nightwing. So he's actually got the same sculpt that we saw from the Batman set Nightwing, same red suit and everything, pretty cool. Gotta love red. I mean, Nightwing, I think, looks better in blue, but I do like the red too. Got Batman Family, Batman Inc., Bloodhaven, Detective, Martial Artist, and Police keywords. Rooftop running, he ignores elevated train, and hindering back in the day was good, you know, not really a thing anymore, whatever. The enemy of my enemy. Once per game, give Nightwing a free action to place a Tony Zuko bystander token in an adjacent square, as included with this card. So we have that right here. Here's Tony Zuko. I still have the whole original cardboard and everything. Tony Zuko can use Perplex and Support. That's pretty much all he's good for. Some cheap, free Perplex. Just drop him out there and get some Perplex on him. And Support if you really need to. You can try to heal somebody with him. But yeah, just being able to take a free action and get a Perplexer was great. And then he has this awesome special movement power that gives him Charge and Flurry, and he can target opposing characters with close attacks regardless of elevation. So this is actually kind of similar to the version that we looked at from the Batman set, except instead of just having regular Charge, Flurry, Leap, Climb, he actually has the improved movement for elevated and hindering, so he can move all the time, even if he loses that Leap Climb power. But what's interesting is the fact that Leap Climb no longer has the ability to make close attacks regardless of elevation. The fact that he actually has it written out in his special movement power means he can still do that. That was something that, if you guys don't know, Leap Climb used to let you be able to make a close attack regardless of what elevation the adjacent character was on. So you could be lower or higher than them. It didn't matter. As long as you were in the square next to them, you could still punch them. Leap Climb doesn't let you do that anymore, but it's just kind of cool that his effect will still let you. It's very, very niche. It does not come up a lot, but it's still cool nonetheless. Of course, Batman ally team ability, and even 100 points. And then he has this special defense power where he can use combat reflexes and defend. And when he's the target of a ranged combat attack, he can use super senses. You shouldn't be the target of a ranged combat attack too much if you manage to keep him in stealth, but sometimes you gotta charge out of your stealth to punch somebody, and it at least helps to have the super senses there as a backup defense power if he gets shot at. So taking a look at his dial here, you can see he's got 9 movement with the Charge Flurry, 11 attack with Incapacitate, 17 defense with that defend, combat reflexes, and super senses from range, defense, power, 3 damage, 6 range double target. Back in the day, having Indomitable was a big plus for him. Indomitable doesn't really exist anymore, but still was cool to have back then. He picks up a little Outwit there on his second click, and then he goes to just regular combat reflexes, regular charge. He gets some close combat expert there, as well as some smoke cloud. But at least Close Combat Expert works with charge now, which is nice. And then he actually gets a click of regeneration there. Now, actually having a 15 defense is pretty cool because Tony Zuko can actually, even with a 9 attack, manage to hit with support. So being able to heal him either with regen or having that Tony Zuko nearby to try and roll support was pretty good. But yeah, this guy was great. You know, you could just move him up, then when you're ready to pounce, you can just take the free action to make Zuko perplex his attack to 12, charge Flurry on some guys, and just go to town. But yeah, this Nightwing has probably been my favorite Nightwing ever since he came out. I've used him plenty of times. He always puts in some good work for me. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at my #1 pick for Nightwings. Alright, that does it for this top 5 list. As always, if you liked it, make sure you smash that like button. It does help me out quite a bit. And let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments. What are some of your favorite Nightwings that you like to use? Or what teams do you like to use them on? I'd love to hear all that kind of stuff. But don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And if you guys would like to help support the channel even more, you can check the links in the description for our Patreon, where you can see your name here in the credits with all these other awesome people. But that's going to do it for this video, so thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.